Hey class, hope you're doing well. I'm going to go over the worksheet that I passed out just in case there's any questions. So this first one is a riff off the classic game Donkey Kong, and we're going to use three facts. And let's actually take a step back and I'll record the three facts we're going to use here. So the three facts we're going to use are this. The first one is that the angles in a triangle will always add up to 180. So angle A plus angle B plus angle C always equals 180. The second fact we have has to do with what's called a linear pair. And so here, these angles, angle X and angle Y, these two angles will always add up to be 180. And we've also got this shape, which is where two lines cross. Then these angles, let's call them P and Q, they are going to be equal to each other. So P is equal to Q. Okay, now in addition to those three facts, we've got some extra ones here involving parallel lines. And the basic idea here is this. If the angles look like they're the same, then they are the same. It's that simple. So for example, this angle right here is going to be the same as that angle. And not only that angle, but these two angles are the same. Not only those two, but these two are the same. And yeah, I think that's it, right? Those ones, those ones. Now we can also have these ones, this one and this one. Those ones are the same. And yeah, I think that's basically it. Now, if they're not the same, for example, this angle is not the same as that angle. Well, if they're not the same, let's call this angle M and angle K. If they're not the same, then they will be supplementary. So M plus K is equal to 180. Okay, so let's see how that relates back to this project we're doing here. So we need to find these angles. So I've got angle 35 here, and I've got angle A here. How am I going to solve those? Well, you've got to kind of take a step back and say, hey, what does this look like if I simplify a bit? So if I simplify a bit, let's go into some notes here. What this is going to look like is this kind of thing. So this is 35 and this is A. Well, when you look at it that way, these lines are parallel, these are on the same side, they're interior, and that angle is not going to be equal to that one, but you know that together they add up to 180. So 35 plus A is equal to 180, so subtracting 35 from both sides, A is equal to 145. Let's go back into our picture here and let's write that in. That's 145. Okay, now right here, what do I have going on with these right here? So I've got these angles right here, 145 and this angle form a 180. So that means that this one right here has to be 35. Now, you can also get there directly by the fact that, let me draw this out, that you can get there because this angle right here and that angle, these are alternate interior angles, and so those are both 35. So you can get there the roundabout way we did it, or you can also just say this angle and this angle are both 35s. Okay, now just speeding this along, we know this is 145 because these also form a 180. And that's kind of as far as we can go there. This line is totally, let me mark this in red. This line here in red is totally separate from this line in blue. So these angles right here, these four angles, don't have anything to do with those angles over there. These are kind of a new thing. Okay, so 110, that means this is 70 because 110 and 70 make a 180. Now if that's a 70, this has to be 70. Let me just write that better. That has to be 70. And if this is 110, this has to be 110. Okay, now this one, which I'm going to color in green, doesn't have anything to do with the one in red. These are totally separate. This is 125, so that means this has to be 55. All right, if this is 55, this is 55, this is 125. And is that right? 125 plus 50. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so adds up to 180. Okay, and so just kind of the same thing. Let's just do a little bit more. This is 130. That means this has to be 50. If this is 50, this has to be 50. And now this right here, this is one big line. Let me extend this red line all the way down here. Okay, so now if this is 110, then that means this also, let's see, then that means this has to be 110 because these are vertical angles. See those guys? Those are vertical angles. So 110 goes there. If 110 goes there, then 70 goes there. And if 110 goes there, then 70 has to go there. And now I got a 50, a 70, 120, so that's a 60. And you get the idea, right? We're just kind of cranking these angles out. Let me do that one more time in case I lost you on that one. Okay, so one more time. Right here, this is 130, so this has to be 50 because these two angles add up to 180. These are same side interior angles. Now, if this is 130, this has to be 50 because 130 plus 50 is 180. Also, this 50 and this 50, these are alternate interior angles. Now, the one that might have been more confusing for you was extending this red line here. 110, this also has to be 110. Why? Because these form an X. So 110 here means 110 there. Now, if this is 110, this has to be 70 because these are same side interior angles, and same side interior angles add up to 180. Okay, now if this is 110, this is 70, and now this, let's color this in blue. Now I've got this blue triangle, and angles in the blue triangle add up to 180, so this has to be 60 because 60 plus 50 plus 70 adds up to 180. Okay, well, I won't give the rest of it away. I'll let you enjoy the last couple of lines here. And let's talk about the second page here. Nothing crazy going on. This angle looks the same as that angle, so it's 49, and I'll let you do 2 and 3 and 4 the same way. Number 5, 6, 7, 8, this is really similar to what you'll see on a quiz. Now, let's just do 2 of these. Let's do 7 and 8. Now, for 7, we know that this angle and this angle, they're both going to be the same. You can get that either by the fact that they look the same, right? Big angle, and big angles will always be equal to big angles, or you can look through your notes and recognize these are alternate exterior angles, and your notes will tell you that alternate exterior angles are congruent. So let's set up our equation. We got 120 equals x plus 130. Solving for x, we want to get x by itself, so we're going to subtract 130 from both sides. Negative 10 is equal to x. And that makes sense because if we plug that negative 10 here in place of x, negative 10 plus 130 is 120, and now we got 120 and 120. So this is an example of an equation where we set that thing equals, so equals this other thing. Now, number 8 is a different story because this thing right here, that angle is different from that angle. Those are two different angles. And so because they're different, the equation we set, actually let's do 10 because you can see it better on 10. So 10, you can really see that angle's really big, this angle's small. And so we have 118, we have x plus 70. Now I'm not going to write equals in the middle because they're not equal. So instead of equals, we're going to say plus, add them together, equals 180. And now we're going to combine like terms. We have 118, we have 70. That's going to be 188 plus x equals 180. And now subtracting 188 from both sides, we get x equals negative 8. And yeah, if we plug that in, it should work. And that's it. So the quiz is pretty much the same kind of stuff. Good luck.